Welcome to another episode of We Don't Die. I'm your host, Sandra Champlain, author of the international bestseller called We Don't Die, A Skeptic's Discovery of Life After Death. And our guest today is Lauren Antuofermo, who is a teacher, a coach, and a spirit channel. And she comes highly recommended from one of our listeners named Anne. Lauren has a 15-year background in the health and fitness industry, public speaking, and so much more. She says her mission is to help people connect with the truth of unconditional love, the gifts of compassion, and the ability to live loving, joyful lives. Her website is soulfultransformations.com. Lauren Antuofermo, a warm welcome to We Don't Die Radio.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's fun. I watched some of your videos today on your Facebook page. I'm like, I like this girl.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, and our mutual friend Anne just really recommended you. And for all the listeners listening right now, if there's somebody that you know and love that I should interview, you just let me know. Send me an email or message me on Facebook. I'm easily found there. So, Lauren, first of all, where are you in the world right now as we're speaking?
I am in Georgia, near Macon, Georgia, Warner Robins. I wound up moving here after I lived a few years in England in the military. I was in the U.S. Air Force. And so we got transferred here. And once I got out of there, we just wind up staying.
Oh,
So I'm
fantastic.
right near Robins Air Force Base in Middle Georgia.
Oh, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
My parents were both in the Air Force. That's how they met. And that's how I came to be on planet Earth. Well,
That's awesome. You and my kids have something in common then.
yeah, that's correct. And I'm in Massachusetts, both of us in the USA on the East Coast time zone, which is pretty cool. Where'd you start? Where does your story begin? Because I don't know too much about spirit channeling, but I know it all ties in with the afterlife. But tell us a little bit about you and how you, maybe a little bit about joining the Air Force, and then how you got into this world of the afterlife and being a spirit channel, if you would.
Right. It's funny because I went from working on F-15 fighter jets, using laser technology and working on their systems for targeting and navigation, and then wound up into the health industry. My father. Long story short, my father's an immigrant from Italy, came to New York, had no education, gave me the education, felt like I needed to do something with it. Went to college, tried every major in the world, couldn't figure out what I wanted to do, went to the Air Force and really loved it. It gave me the experience of living different places, getting to know different people. And, there was something that I was just searching for. And the Air Force gave me such a belief in myself to be who I am at my core, to do what be independent and to know that I can do things that are out of the ordinary, that weren't expected of me. And my father being an athlete, he was a professional boxer for most of his career. I always had the inkling towards fitness and nutrition and things like that, but I went through my own struggle, started working with clients. I loved working with people. And I was always kind of intuitive, but I didn't think much of it. And working with people helped me to kind of figure out that energy and emotions were really a part of people's health and wellness and the way they feel about themselves and the way they feel about life. Then I started meditating, kind of looking for answers for myself. And as I started to meditate and connect with past loved ones, I started out, doing some mediumship and intuitive work, which I really loved. I have my grandma who is, often with me and helping me, guiding me. Every time I speak to a medium, my grandma shows up right away. And so I know she's always with me. And then after a while of meditating, I wound up accentuating the kind of guidance that comes from like a higher source, like angels. I got really interested in angels and how they connect with us and how they help guide us in this life. So one thing basically led to another, where I began to voice like songs and energy and loving messages. And as I began to get used to that, I was a little shy about it. I started to share it, little here, little there, starting to feel more comfortable with it. And the messages and the energy that would come through was so was so beautiful. It would bring tears to my eyes. Like I could feel it and know it. And so after a while, I just felt like I had to share this gift with other people and see how heaven, source, spirit, whatever you want to call it, really views us in such compassion for everything that we go through in life, and everything that brings us love is how they're leading us back to feeling safe, secure, happy, joyous, and being connected to that unconditional love of life. So I know I rambled a little bit there, but
Oh,
hopefully that
ramble
makes
is
sense.
good. But I want to ask, when your grandmother first came through, was that a surprise?
Um, well, yes and no, because my mom had gone to mediums here and there. I always thought, well,
Okay.
it wasn't so out of the realm of possibility, but it was very surprising to me. Like, oh my gosh, here she is, and sometimes like I won't get the messages until she has something for my mom, and then she uses that as a gateway to give me a message too. Because sometimes as a medium, you won't get messages for yourself unless somebody else is, around you that you're getting messages for. So she would sneak it in there every once in a while. When somebody else was a medium, she'd kind of butt in and say, "Hey,
That's great.
here
Yeah.
I am."
I was very close with my grandmother, and I would love, even though I feel her around sometimes, and out of the corner of my eye, I see her, but I'd love something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing when you get like just those little inklings. Like the more you acknowledge the signs that they give you and the feelings that they give you, the more that they can communicate. That's something that I've learned, that once you begin to kind of feel their energy and their love, and you feel close to that love and that source and that energy of compassion for yourself and wanting to feel that joy of who they are, they can access us more easily because they're in joy, they're in light, they're in love. And for us to connect with them, we have to be able to be open to that love that they have. And sometimes, feeling unable to connect, feeling unworthy of connecting, or feeling like it's too much to connect, or it's too impossible,
Hmm.
you know, they'll find ways to make sure that they bring signs and symbols and energy to us that remind us of their light, of their love, and of the good times that we had, and of their joy that they had for living with us, and being connected to us. And when we look for those signs and symbols, they become really relevant, really present in our lives.
Oh, that's good. That's good advice. Because I just think the more we acknowledge them, because I talked to a man not too long ago whose dad has been gone for 10 years. He's like, he's never given me a sign, period,
Yeah.
and just some of the questions were, have you asked? Have you spent time quieting your mind? Oh, I'm too busy for that,
Yeah.
And I think it
Yeah.
is like a new kind of relationship that we're developing, even though they're still them. It's a
Right.
new way of having, yeah, to communicate.
It's so true, because what I've learned just from bringing through loved ones is that when somebody is in a lot of grief, um, they will work through, grief to kind of comfort you, and they will connect with you. But after a while, they want to be able to connect with you in love, like personally. And when you can access that, even though the missing is there and the grief is there, and the feeling that they really want them in the physical, that doesn't go away, especially for many like parents who lose children, or people who
Right.
are really close to us. It's hard to just, I'm not saying to get rid of the grief, but I am saying that when you connect with, they want to reach you in love, and then you're open to it, you begin to recognize how they're accessing your energy, and how they are showing their love and support in ways that you might not have noticed before. So if you have that opening of, let me accept the ways you want to communicate with me, they will show you, and you'll feel it, and you'll know it in your heart. And the more that you connect with that, affirming that, like affirmation of knowing that they can communicate communicate in ways that are unfamiliar to the rest of the world. They're not going to pick up a phone, and not every spirit's going to make the TV turn on and off in the middle of the night,
Right.
but they will give you signs and light and just feelings, and that they're with you. And you may feel crazy for thinking that, but that's when if you can really feel that energy, the spirit of their love is with you. And that's something I've learned to connect with people who are in grief about their loved ones, and they begin to see that, they begin to feel it, and it brings them a level of comfort that maybe wasn't there before.
Yeah, and the feelings can be so subtle. So it might not be some major thing, shows up
Exactly.
on your lap, but it could be just having the feeling. I had gone to bed after my dad died, and even though I believed in the afterlife, I was still on my search to go to mediums, and I saw a spirit artist who drew a picture of him. I mean, it's really great stuff. But I went to bed one night saying, Dad, I just want to know you're here. And what I asked for is just to show me some pictures, that put some pictures in my mind. Let me know you're here. I don't know why I thought to ask that. But Lauren, it was like a slideshow of things Dad and I had done in the past that came to my mind. And they happened so fast, I couldn't create it. I couldn't think back, okay, what did I do when I was 8 years old? And it was so special. And I thought, you know what? I have to take this as a sign. Have to.
Yes. That's amazing. And I love that. I got goosebumps as you were talking, because, when you, like I said, when you're open to receive that, they show up easily because you're really open to receiving that kind of love, and it was coming from a place of love and of comfort. Like you wanted to see the good times and the laughter and the sense that his love was still with you. And so it was easy to sense that. That's beautiful. Yeah. My mom, after I started getting into this, she's like, oh, I want to try too. And she can see, almost feel like my grandmother had this thing of putting her hand on, and on top of your hand. There was a very unique gesture that was unique to her, and she can actually feel her hand sometimes just, covering her hand and almost like a comforting, I'm here. And, she'll go right into tears if she talks about it. It's funny. If she can really describe the way that feels to her, she can feel it and she starts to get emotional about it. But it's like tears of love, of comfort and knowing that, they're still there. Their energy, their love has never gone anywhere.
So sweet. One of our guests not too long ago said, schedule a time and make this commitment with your loved one that you want to get used to their energy and build this relationship in this new way. And she says, ask them, close your eyes and ask them to step close. And what does that feel like? And do you get goosebumps? Do you feel change in temperature, change in air? And, maybe nothing happens the first several times, but eventually, you actually start feeling a subtle change. And I thought that's so beautiful. So there are things we can do.
Yes.
There really are. Wow. When did you start working with people doing any kind of medium reading? Was that kind of a shock that not only could you see your grandmother, but you could tell people who their loved ones were?
Yes. Well, it came almost a hobby at first, oh, wow, I can do this. Let me try. And so I did it with people I felt safe with, that I knew that I could, not, at first, I'm in the Air Force and I come from a very, conservative family. This is a little bit weird. And even though my mom had been to mediums here and there, it still wasn't the environment that I was in, especially where, some people call that, here's, just bad, they don't, they don't really accept it as something, from light. They feel it's, bad or negative. And, so I kept it quiet to myself and only worked with people, and friends and family members. But I would bring up, the reason I knew that I was getting real answers, because I was bringing up things that were only connected to them, that they didn't know, anybody else knew. That I could pick up on things that I couldn't have possibly known, and that it would just fun. It felt really great to do that. And then I just started working with people outside of that. Oh, I have a friend. I would get referrals.
Yes.
And it started that way. And I just fell in love with the feeling of being able to do that for people,
Yeah.
And then the channeling started, and I was able to bring in, guidance for people that are, that show us that not only don't we die, but we are eternal. That God, source, whatever word you want to use for him, is evidently, is evidenced in our daily life. That pain and anger and fear and worry and frustration and hostility, all of these emotions, can be part of the human life, but that the energy of who we are is eternal, loved, and always supported. And when we recognize that, there is no doubt of fear of death. You know what I mean? There's no doubt that we live on, that we go forward, that we connect with eternal, because we are from the eternal and we will always be eternal. And that really solidified for me the energy of mediumship, because it showed that no matter what you believe about souls, oversouls, reincarnations, things of that nature, who we are in this lifetime lasts. We are never separate from source, and we are never apart from love. And so as such, that there's never a time where we are not light. We are not here. We are not present. You know what I mean? It's eternal. I don't know if I'm making the connection the way that I want to in my head, but
I have a smile on my face listening to you, so I think so.
Okay.
But it's so comforting.
Yeah.
So comforting. I want to hear about channeling, because
Okay.
I've talked to people about trance, which I believe is different.
Mm-hmm.
I think. But what is channeling, and what does it look like on the court? Like when you're actively doing it. I don't really know too much about it.
Okay, so I will actually demonstrate it for you.
No kidding, will you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you might find the tone or the words that I'm using or the energy that I am coming out will shift a little bit. So
thank you.
I work with archangels. I work with the angelic light of their energy. So when I go into channel, I'm just connected by love, and I accept that they are a beautiful expression of source energy. And when I go into channel, it's like my conscious worries, fears, frustrations, or anything like that move to the side. I'm not processing emotion or anything else except allowing that energy through. And so what I'm going to do is allow the Archangel Ariel to connect with me now. And greetings. My connection with the channeled experience is that when humans are open to receiving an awareness of light that is connected to them with love, strongly associated with their ability to translate my energy into words, I connect with them immediately. So there's no difficulty in the translation. There's only a communication, my energy to hers. And as her communication reveals a frequency of abundance, love, and happiness, it is with great honor that we give her the ability to translate the energy of source, compassion, joy, abundance, and happiness. As we are connected to the archangel realm, we have the frequency of knowing that who you are at the level of light is so compassionately aware of love that there could never be a source of pain. There's only a communication. Am I in awareness of love, or am I in connection to the fear of lower vibrations or negative energy? When the awakening of a heart opens to the source energy of abundance, it is with light that they receive it. And when a communication of archangels communicates through a human being, they reveal an energy of compassion, of loyalty to the heart of all humans. And the relationship of that abundance is that the human receiving the archangel is connected to the higher frequencies of divine love. When we call upon an energetic awareness of a human, Meaning when we connect to the personality of a human, we are often giving them advice, guidance, love, and compassion. Our communication to the archangels is one of laughter, buoyancy, happiness, and compassion for whatever it is the human is feeling. When we communicate with the experience of abundance, we say to you that there is no lack in the world. There is only the joyfulness of creating an awakening of light. When we say to you that the communication of compassion for us is that we help awaken you to loving yourselves in such a way that you connect with judgment-free energy, compassionately aware of what it is you are really wanting, the energy of filling your joy up with the experience of kindness, loyalty to having energy of abundance, creativity and awareness of life on earth being a beautiful expression of source through physical bodies. And so as you are source energy connected to the physical form, you are also eternal. There is no decision of making somebody come to earth and making them feel bad and punish them. There is only the goodness of creation. There's only the passionate view of abundance that God has given the earth realm. And when we communicate through the energy of awareness, through the energy of Lauren, she sends a signal. What is the late energy of fear? The belief that you are undeserving of love. What is the judgment that we put upon ourselves? The communication of pain when we are not in alignment to God's eternal light. When we are performing an emotional communication to the universal energy of life on earth, we remind you that God is eternal. And because you are created in the image of Him, we say you are, don't feel the frequency of fear. Feel the frequency of abundance. Receive the energy of who you are at the level of light. And that is eternal. So when a human comes back from their lifetime, they express gratitude. Even if the lifetime was difficult, they express love for being the creative process of alignment, of awareness, and of allowing them to receive compassion as a human being. They are aware that forgiveness is immediate, that there is nothing that should keep a human being from God's energy of love. And when we recommend to the youth of this world that they believe in themselves so much that they create lives of compassion, creativity, and abundance, we say to you with great honor that the belief in the self is what allows that communication. When we give you the offering of abundance, we say to you, it is not riches and money. It is the creative process of living in light, loving the self, and creating love around you. That is abundance. When we communicate with the feeling of awareness of how to receive a life of a loving angelic guide, we say to you, all of you have the light energy of guides connected to you. Each of you have the perfection of God within you, and therefore you will always be guided back to love. You will always be connected back to source, and you will always be a balanced alignment of judgment-free energy, which gives you the experience of knowing that the validation of humanity is that you grow in love for each other and for yourselves. We thank you for this opportunity to speak to your audience. We give you the experience of knowing that the Archangel realm is supportive of all humanity. There is no religion from the angelic realm. There is no religion that would keep us from helping you. We love you. There is a constant energy of adoration for you. We are the Archangel realm. We love you, and we say thank you and good day.
Thank you.
So, yeah,
I
that
didn't.
was Ariel. And it's funny, I was a little bit nervous, and I normally don't get nervous, and she knows that she was connecting to me and through me, and that my energy, although was witnessing her connection to me, I allowed her to receive my throat chakra, my words, my transmission, so that I know that she's utilizing my human faculties to translate her message. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes sense. I'm just shocked because I didn't see that coming. It was like you just turned on a faucet and whew, and
Yeah, that's
and
exactly.
I am so thankful that this is being recorded that I can re-listen to it, and even our audience members too. You left me stunned and delighted. And
Yay,
thank you,
good.
Archangel Ariel. I have not experienced this before. I have seen people do trance mediumship with people speaking through them, words of wisdom, yes, but people who had walked the earth, but to just be tuned into this realm of, oh, divinity, I guess is the word, and
Yeah,
such powerful words.
yeah.
Thank
It's
you.
so. You're
I like
welcome.
pinch myself. Did she really just do that?
So it's interesting for sure when I do it. I'm always like sometimes in the back of my mind I'm going, okay, I hope they're receiving it well, like as I'm kind of watching it from the background or hearing it from the background. My delight in receiving it usually makes it really, really fun to do for people, like because I can feel the energy and I know that the person feels that energy and it just feels like communion. It feels like balanced love energy in the way that we are really meant to know ourselves and know each other in that light, in that love.
Oh, now are you listening as she's speaking? Because the words were flying out pretty fast. So even me, I couldn't digest them that fast and want to go back and listen. But are you just like, is your mind just kind of sitting in another room as
Well, I
they're
can
speaking?
listen and hear,
Yeah,
but it's kind of like the same thing that you described. I'm kind of like, all right, whoa, what just happened? I know it felt good. I know that there were words of love and light, and I can connect with the basic of the message. But if
mm-hmm.
I try and go and repeat what was just said,
Forget it.
there's no way. I cannot. I know that there was love, and she was talking about being connected to eternal, but that's about it. Like.
That is great. And how long have you been connected? That I'm sure the longer time goes on, the stronger the connection, the more
Yeah,
powerful
well,
this may be. But how long has this been coming through you as a channel?
I would say about 3 years. About
That's
3 years
nothing.
solidly. Yeah.
Wow.
It took like a full year for me to really, like the first year. So I would say altogether 4 years. The first year was a little like up and down. I didn't know a lot about this. I didn't know a lot of what was happening. So I kind of shut it down for a minute. Like I went through a little bit of, fear-based thoughts about like what's going on
Yeah, of
here,
course.
because we're so conditioned, with the energy of like movies and stuff like that to feel like. But once I understood the discernment between what was truly loving and what was painful,
Hmm.
anything that they give us in love will feel like love. Anything that is less than love is not from guides, is not from source, is not from heaven, as you might call it. It's anything that feels judgmental, critical, condemnation, hostile, or negative really isn't from love. That's not love. That's the opposite of love.
Yeah,
and
I think a
so
lot of that comes from our own minds too.
exactly.
Yeah, it's tough road being a human. That was just extraordinary. Now, is this something like, so what I have to compare to, which this is all an education for all of us. So I think it's really great. But recently I've been studying trance mediumship and things like that. And people have been sitting in circles, home circles, and sitting quietly or singing songs, things like that for a long time. Is this this, my instinct is this is something, a unique relationship that you built
Yes.
one on one. or one on however many in the angelic realm. But this is something that you did yourself. I mean, it wasn't a group of
Yeah,
people sitting with you, supporting you and your development,
right. Nope.
or maybe unseen people, maybe. But yeah,
No. I sought a coach that, knew how to channel and worked with archangels as well after a while. And she helped me kind of steady my energy to be able to connect on a very deep, loving level. So I would say that it took, just like any, a medium can be born with the ability to receive, those messages, but it takes them time to develop a language with spirit.
right.
They, over time, they get better and better and better and better at it because they are connected to establishing that relationship and that language, so to speak. And so it becomes easier as they get to know the way they receive information. Spirit knows how to transmit the energy so it makes sense to the medium, to the person receiving it. And the way that I feel about channeling is that rather than transmitting an energy to me that I have to stop and interpret and then get the message from my human mind, my body kind of like automatically translates it. It's kind of like a radio signal. Like I'm the radio, and I'm outputting the signal that the frequency that's coming to me, and it's immediate. There's no delay in the radio, like having to think about what they got and then try to translate it into words. It's just a direct, signal through it.
It's amazing and there's such a distinct, even though it was your voice, the voice didn't come up for air too often.
Yeah.
There were no and you know what I mean? Things that things that
That's true.
we human beings say.
Yeah.
And it was so fast that it was and deliberate that I couldn't speak that way if I tried. So it's just very interesting to talk to you and then to see that in action. Now, I don't know enough about you, which we're going to find out because darn it, you're great. Is this something you teach? Is this something that people can, I mean, maybe not everybody wants to do what we just witnessed, but can we build a relationship, each one of us, with our friends in the angelic realm? I mean, is that possible? And how?
And I think that was part of her message. Like each of us has these awarenesses of archangels and angels supporting us and guides. And when we connect with our past loved ones, they often serve as our guides because they're connected to the information about us that we're not even aware of in this lifetime, because they have a broader perspective. They have a broader view of our soul energy and who we are at the level of light that they know themselves to be. And so when we connect with past loved ones, sometimes they give us guidance. And also when we connect to our guides and angels, we can establish that relationship in very similar ways by accepting that they are there constantly in love, that when they're there for us in love, they will always make us feel comforted, balanced, secure. They will offer us friendship in a way. So angels aren't meant to be, revered as something to
like we're not praying to them.
Right. That's the word I'm looking for. Like they're not meant to be, replacements for source or praying or God. They're there to help guide us and support us in our human evolution. And when we make that connection with them, when done in a very reverent, loving, respectful way, knowing that they are here to support us, they show up. As far as speech channeling, what I call speech channeling, there are a few people that can directly speech channel the way I do. It's not that common of a energy, but many people do channel. They channel through writing. They get, mediums channel past loved ones. So the channeling experience is about connecting to an energy and allowing that energy flow through you. In the way that I speech channel, it takes a little bit more work and a little bit more dedication because it works with your body, like your physical body. You have to be open to receiving that energy physically. And so that turns a lot of people off.
Yes.
They want to just go, no, I'll just get, an image in my mind. Thank you. That's enough for me,
People want to stay in control too. It just,
Yeah.
you have to have a high level of trust here. Because
Yes.
I'm sure you could get freaked out pretty fast.
So true.
Yeah.
That trust is essential. And that's what that's what they've taught me is really that, I told you a little bit, I did go into a little bit of fear and worry and, all the stories people tell you and the movies and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the thing that I learned was that I am always in charge of my own energy. I am always in charge of my own energy. So even if I were trance medium, I would know if I was being harmed by the way it felt. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like even if there was something possibly, let's say for example, something could possibly, come in and feel really bad, sound negative or quote unquote evil. I would know, I would feel that. And my energy knows not to accept that kind of thing. And so done.
Uh-huh.
We are the ones that are in charge of our own energy. And that's really important to understand when you go into spirit communication, because if you don't have that knowing of awareness of who you truly are and that you are the one in charge of your own body, your own mind, your own emotions, your own thoughts, then you can go south in fear. And that's not what spirit wants. Spirit won't work with you if you're in fear. And so you have to be able to trust and have an open connection with the ability to receive light and love and to trust that that is your source. Fear is not going to do anything for you except make you wonder what might go wrong. But love is going to give you the accoutrements, the energy of being secure and safe in your own energy. And that's really a lot to do with what I teach light workers. I don't know if you connect with many people that describe themselves as light workers, but light workers who are on a spiritual path of self-discovery and learning that is probably the basis of what I teach in coaching. Sometimes I teach channeling, but it depends on the person and if they're really open to it.
Yeah. And I just see whether it's channeling or even the connections that we build to the unseen world, the angelic world, whatever you want to call these folks. It's like really building a relationship. This is the first time you and I are talking. And after 75 years, or even thinking of an old married couple, in the beginning they're courting, but by the end, they finish each other's sentences and they just know each other. They're breathing the same. And I think building these relationships with the unseen world, if I can call it that, it takes time, it takes dedication, it takes love, it takes an interest in getting to know each other. And, so 4 years seems pretty fast in my world, but I'm sure you've been really meditating with love and, there's action involved in a commitment and I think an intention from your point of view, right?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say you're spot on with that. I'm curious of like what your listeners really ask you a lot. Like, how did you turn to, I know you're supposed to be interviewing me, but
That's
how did
right.
you turn, how did you turn to the feeling of allowing people to really, to be open to this experience? Like, have you gotten anything that makes you feel like I'm not doing the work of my heart? Because really what I'm getting at is to show like how the relationship really begins in anything. Like, you have the experience of knowing this was a relationship of love for you. And as you connected with it, you opened the door to allow other people to feel the love of what you were doing, right?
Yes, without a doubt.
And then so as your love for yourself in pursuing this radio show, you created an abundance of love just by allowing people to visit you and to feel your energy and love in what you were doing. And when you did that, you opened the door to so many people healing and loving and creating compassion for themselves and each other. And so what you've done with your show is really demonstrate the energy that love of the self and pursuing the joy of that. Not in the work of, accumulating things, needing things to feel okay, but just really extenuating the feeling of your joy out into the world, extended to many people's joy. So that's why love always heals. There's never a time that God would give you punishment to make you feel better, and I think that's the point. Like when God feels joy, he extends that out into the world. And when you connect with that joy, you know who you truly are. You feel better, you know better, you heal, you become passionate for yourself. And what you've done with your show is really extend that out to thousands of people, which is a miracle in and of itself to know how many people you've touched. So you've far exceeded what I've been able to reach so far, but thank you for doing what you do, because it is such a work of love. And that's what we are here to do. That's who we truly are at the level of light. When we are connected to our own source, our own love, it has no choice but to extend out into the world and touch others with that same light and make them feel the abundance of light and love that's available to them as well.
She just stepped in and spoke through you.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, wait a minute. Fantastic. And it's true. I had this image in my mind of taking myself to Disneyland as an adult, and I was playing in the puddles and I was seeing the parades and I just loved it. But what was missing is I didn't have anybody to share it with. So I love to play and I love to share. And this radio show, even if no one was listening, I would still be doing it because of the joy. But the bonus is I do get to share. And, we've got a great following, great Facebook group, We Don't Die listeners. Anybody can join that. And, I speak at some events and I get to meet people face to face. And it's like I'm sharing with my friends. And so there is love there. There is joy and being of service and sharing. And I think that's probably why more and more great people come. There's more and more great development happening within me in my meditations. I mean, stuff's happening. And, yeah, it's awesome, Lauren.
That's beautiful. That's so beautiful.
My goodness. Well, let's talk a little bit more about what you teach and how people can find out more about you. I know your website is soulfultransformations.com, but talk about that because you've left me highly interested. Selfishly speaking, but wow.
I do one-on-one readings, and all my readings are recorded and all my sessions are recorded. And what I like to do is bring in, that intuitive psychic information that people are fascinated with. But, I concentrate on allowing people to see the joy of what they do, and connecting to their joy means they're in alignment. And when you're in alignment, you can connect with more love and be able to receive all of the abundance that, Archangel Ariel was talking about, receive all the awareness of light that is available to us. And so in the one-on-one sessions, I do that on a smaller level, or just a more connected level of just where they are right now, since it's one session. And then I have a course. I do group coaching, which is really about people connecting to their own source within, allowing people to feel safe in the world. It's chakra work and energy work, but it's also about being connected to reality, teaching people how love really is the truth of our existence. And when we do that with an experience of living, our day to day, not just, oh, well, that's a nice, soliloquy, that's a nice saying, love and light, thank you. But living that in a reality-based world makes a difference to our health, our wellness, and the way that we we create our lives, and the way we become abundant, the way we live in love. And that's really all we ever want, right? The energy of happiness. And I
Yes.
teach people to connect with what that means for them. And when you feel safe in the world, you connect with your foundation. When you feel compassionate for your emotions, you learn to understand the intuitive world and what it means for you to feel joy, and what it means for you to have self-love when you are in pain, and compassion when you are in pain. And then we connect to the joy of living, knowing that joy is the highest communication of being human, and that joy attracts love, like we just spoke about. You know, you doing what you love attracted joyful experiences, connecting to other people in service, spreading the joy just by doing what you love. And then we connect to the throat, like how do we speak about ourselves? How do we speak about the world? What do we do in order to communicate truth to ourselves, truth in love, not in fear? And then we connect with knowing that we are eternal by going through, you know, basically the chakra system. But at the heart of it all is the heart. Everything must be based in love. If you go too much into it being difficult to either get money or never feel like you have enough, and then if you don't have compassion for your emotions, you suffer and you get in pain, and the body often goes south. And if you don't have love, people will take you the wrong way. And if you don't have love for the way you see others and the way you connect with the world, then you often have experiences of fear, frustration, and lack. So everything must begin with love, and that's kind of what I teach through my courses. And as a result of knowing that, people start opening up to their guides. They start opening up to information of love. They start opening up to the connection of guidance for themselves, but still being real world based, still being, you know, that human that's got to go to work every day, that's got to take care of the kids. You know, it's a shift in consciousness away from fear, lack, punishment, hostility, and negotiating with pain, to a feeling of, when I know my worth, I am able to spread the joy that I want to see in the world. And that's really kind of another long drawn out thing of, sorry, I get a little drawn out.
No apologies. I am having the time of my life here with this interview, listening to you. I am. There's a ton of joy I'm experiencing right now, as I'm sure our listeners are as well.
That's amazing.
Wow. Is there something, Lauren, that you can give us right now that we could start doing on our own to maybe start building a relationship with our guides, or who's with us? Because I think we all want that. We all want to believe that somebody's with us, or whoever's with us, and that we have angels with us or guides with us. And is there just some little practice that we could start doing?
So I would always go into meditation, but sometimes the word meditation makes people freak out. Oh, I can't do that. So what I would say is quietly awakening to the feeling of your body. So that means, you know, connecting to feeling the heart of your body, knowing that you are protected and loved. So it's really just an affirmation. It's connecting to the truth of that. When you say to yourself, I am loved unconditionally, does it feel good? If yes, then we recommend you start meditating and asking your guides to come through with messages, because you're ready to receive the love of what they have to offer you. But if you go into meditation, or if you go into a feeling of, when I say I am unconditionally loved, and you feel like, oh no, well, I did this, and that can't be true for all people, and what about this? And you feel that there is a disconnect between you and that feeling, I would start slowly by asking God and your guides to connect with you in feeling love for yourself. So start with that, and then you just go into the feeling of knowing that you are supported. Because as soon as you ask in the world of abundance, it is given. As soon as you ask to open up to receive love, it is given. Because you'll immediately have opened up a space within your heart to receive. And so I would ask, just with the question, please come into my experience and let me know that I am loved. And start with something simple. And then start going into meditation, which is just quieting the mind and feeling love. That's it. All you ask is to receive love. 10-15 minutes a day. Just ask your guides to connect with you for love. And when you feel present, when you feel connected, when you feel like you're feeling calm, light energy surrounding you, those things, those are signs and symbols and connections to you that peace is where you find God, that peace is where you find love. That peace is where you find all of the energy that you're looking for. And so that's why everyone recommends meditation, but it doesn't have to be this, guided, let's go talk to my guides. Let's go, up into the heavens. Let's have all these visions. It's simple. It's just sitting down and asking to feel the heart of who you are. And your guides immediately come in to support that energy. Because again, as you ask, it is given because you are open to receive. And it really is that simple. I don't like to make things more complicated. Well, you have to do this, you have to do that. The more you know it is simple, the more you feel worthy of receiving. The more you know you don't have to prove anything to anybody in order to receive your guides, the more you know you can connect. The less you fear not being able to connect with your guides. So there's a presence, an awareness of just being in the awareness of love that immediately connects you to that source. And then you start finding all kinds of synchronicities and things that show that they are supporting you. So really the simplest of tasks sometimes is the most difficult. And if you can sit for 15 minutes and just be in the energy of your heart and ask to be connected to the light energy of who you are or your guides or your angels, and you're able to sit for 15 minutes without needing to check your phone or get up or scratch your nose, that's fine. But, without needing to do something, then you've started to connect with the truth within, the love. And that is where it all begins. Because once you understand that, you understand where all light comes from.
I'm just sitting here with a smile on my face. Lauren and Ariel, thank you. It's just amazing to listen to you and just notice the shift.
Thank you.
It's fantastic. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for the journey you have been on and your own development you've done and being willing and open to share this love and teach. It's magnificent. So thank you.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you for doing what you do and having me on today. This was amazing.
Yeah, who knew? My last interview was with a man who was talking about channeling the angelic realm, and I enjoyed listening to him, but I didn't quite get it. It seemed like it was outside of my my understanding, which was fine because it was something new. And then I thought, what are the chances that Lauren's coming on today too as a spirit channel? And to our listener who already listened to that last episode, you're probably feeling the same thing. Like this answered so many questions, and it was just like that next level of building the relationship. We're finding out a little bit more. And so it's perfect. Perfect.
Awesome.
Perfect. Lauren, thank you. Do you have any closing words before we wrap up the episode?
No. I just, thank you. You can, I do put out videos and I have like a program where I do channelings like once a month. If you want to join that, you can look at that on my Facebook page, but I'm just really grateful to be here. So thank you.
Oh, I'm grateful you're here too. And once again, your website is soulfultransformations.com. And on Facebook, all one word, type in Soulful Transformations. And beneath this episode in the description, I have live links to your pages. Instagram and everything. We make it easy. Wow. All I can say is, wow, this was filled with joy and fun and inspiration. And yeah, you've really left me open and curious. It's just so comforting to know that love is all around and that
Yeah.
you have been sitting and developing and things, but you're a soul just like the rest of us.
Yeah.
And we're all special. Let me put it to you that way. We're all special. We all have a team behind us. Oh,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you, Lauren Antuofermo. And thank you to our listener who spent the last hour with Lauren and I. It's just been great, I feel. As a reminder, our home base for the radio show is wedon'tdieradio.com. I want to invite anybody who's listening to join our Facebook group if you are on Facebook, obviously. Just type in We Don't Die Listeners, and there's over 3,000 of us, but that really enjoy talking about these kind of things. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this episode, other episodes, and where you're at in your development and life and where we can help each other out. It's a great place. So in closing, my name is Sandra Champlain, and I have been your host on We Don't Die Radio, and I love it. If you can tell, I love it. I do believe that life is an education for the soul and that your life here on earth is important. So I want to thank you for listening. Let's all take Lauren's advice, sit for 15 minutes or so and be in that connection and ask, let me know that I'm loved and that you're with me. Oh, it's great. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you soon.